This is Comic Geek Speak episode 1938, the CGS Best of 2023 Awards Results Show. Welcome to the show. I'm Adam Murdo.
I'm Ian Levinstein.
I'm Shane Kelly.
And I'm Chris Eberly.
When I actually have the show art ready before the show actually starts, then I can do all that while we're doing it. And those of you on YouTube get to see it as it's happening. Fantastic. Mm-hmm. Oh, welcome one and all to the show, and it is indeed the Best of 2023 Results Show. You, the listeners, submitted your ballots. We, the geeks, will read them to you and find out who was the best of this previous year. Looking forward to it, and happy to see that we got as many people in as we did submitting their answers, and it's good times all around.
And as always, thanks to Adam for one of the highlights of the year.
Most definitely the case.
Yep.
Appreciated, Chris, but this is a celebration for all of us.
Yes,
Huzzah.
it is.
Those assembled here and all those listening who sent in their votes and nominations and opinions just to make this award spectacle what it is.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely the case. And before we get started here, our usual preamble, which might be a little bit longer because we've got a lot of stuff to talk about. Number one.
That's true. The anniversary here approacheth.
Yes, it do.
We got stuff. We got stuff.
Stuff and things. Patreon.com/comicgeekspeak. You've got more things than you once did over at patreon.com/comicgeekspeak. As not only has Pants released his pilot on his old TV wonders that he was enjoying back in 2020 or so, but also The Art of Pants has been released as a video exclusive episode. The first episode of that featuring everyone on this call, as well as Peter Rios and Pants himself, covering events in his first episode. So if you want to check out that full video episode of The Art of Pants, as well as future episodes, for as little as $1 a month, you can go ahead and join our Patreon over at patreon.com/comicgeekspeak.
Yeah, that was a delight to record. A fun.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
It was multiple hoots.
Yes, it was. Multiple hoots.
There were things I did not know he had. That was great.
Multiple hoots, multiple hollers. It was good times all around. And we will keep the surprises in the bag for any of you who have not watched the episodes to what those pieces of art were. But there were tons of things, as Shane said, that we were just like, what? Really? So do check that out at patreon.com/comicgeekspeak. For as little as $1 a month, you get that. This is all going towards not only our continued existence as a podcast, but also the Comic Geek Speak 20th anniversary celebration, which is well underway at this point. And we still have a year to go. So tiny.cc/CGS20th for more information on that. That's CGS20TH. tiny.cc/CGS20th for all your information on that. And as part of that, we open the door once again to sponsors of the show. And you can email Brian, Bryan, at comicgeekspeak.com. If you are interested, there are only 10 spots available, and 5 of them are already filled. So I will mention quickly here, they'll get their full sponsorships at a later date, but I just want to first off say thanks to the Atch himself, Mike Atchison, for contributing to the show as he has in the past, and he yet again is. So you can check out his own podcast, Mike's Comic Shop Roadshow, as well, and facebook.com/Campus Comics Cast for Mike Atchison. And of course, we knew him originally as the Geek Pastor, Mr. Wayne Cordova. Also contributing to the show and his One to Grow On podcast. Plus, a man who had to deal with Raf Suhu and myself in his car in Pennsylvania at one point, the one and only Dave Williams. And his main contribution is to a come. on sponsorship there, but we thank Dave for that, as well as Martheus Wade and madebystrisha.com. Those are the 5 sponsorships that have been in so far. If you want to be one of the remaining 5, head to Brian at comicgeekspeak.com. Let him know, and you can be a part of the fun. This has been an amazing, amazing time to be a part of this show, gentlemen, as it feels like we're having so much fun with everything. And I want to mention that we're looking for some more YouTube comments as we're growing the YouTube channel in a bunch of different ways. Murd's got his Ohatmu entries up there with a new life.
Well, more accurate to say Brian's got my entries.
That is very true.
He's making the videos and choosing them. He's putting a lot of effort and love into those things. So let's give him the credit.
Yes, he gets the credit. You get the credit for the voice and the sonorous tones that only come from the Murdo. So yes, it is definitely a dual effort there, Brian and yourself. But Brian's putting those videos together. And also, Brian put together a video with Tim Sheridan recently on what he's been reading. And that's gonna be a regular series that's only really gonna be available on the YouTube. So if you head to youtube.com/comicgeekspeak, you can check those out. And if you are watching these shows there, or if you're listening to the shows there, one form or another, go ahead and comment and let us know what you think there. We'd be happy to grow the community in any way that we can. And that is one way that we are most definitely looking to do it.
Indeed.
All righty. Now that all that's out of the way and I can take a slight breath, onward we go to our best of results. And Murd, how many categories total again, sir?
16 are the number of the categories, and the number of the categories shall be 16. 17 is right out.
Oh my God! Thank you for that. I wouldn't have had it any other way, my friend. I wouldn't have had it any other way. All right, and we all have. We're going to be splitting up the duties here, and we're all going to be reading off different categories as well. And I am going to try to make sure that I have the correct sound effects to go with said fun, like last year, as that does add a little bit to the entire thing.
Indeed.
All right. And I have the joy of being the first category, so I will go ahead and read that one off. Best New Hero or Hero Team, which debuted in 2023. Our choices were Crossjack, Junkrabbit, Lex Luthor, The Plot Holes, and The Vigil. And the winner is... The Plot Holes. Woo! Indeed. The Plot Holes are our winner for the first category here of Best New Hero or Hero Team.
You're really enjoying yourself, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
Mr. Producer, your joy in real audio never fails to entertain and delight. And you know that Jamie D is beaming down on you right now.
I am 100% doing this for him. They're called the Jamies. I must honor the man. Yes. Absolutely.
Who can forget his joy and all the different cartoon sound effects he would use when he was in the chair?
I used to love them.
Oh boy. What was it? A close race, Murd, or was it an outright slobberknockle, clobbering time?
In the hero category, it was indeed a close race, and you'll be happy to know that the Plot Holes edged Crossjack by 1 vote.
Okay, nicely done. Nicely done.
So it's just good to see a little bit of indie love in these awards too.
Absolutely. All right, we go to our next category.
So that would be me, the best new villain or villain team to debut in 2023. The nominees were Constance Wayne, the Harrower. Now, help me out with this one. Is it PH34R or is there a phonetic?
It's Fear.
Fear, okay.
Yeah, it's spelled.
Okay, all right, I can see that.
Yeah, it's a thing.
The Sovereign of the United States and Tanaros Utgard Thor. And the winner is... Oops, I went too far. The Sovereign of the United States. I'm sorry, I didn't wait for the drum roll.
Oh, no. Please. Either way.
Too excited.
The Sovereign of the United States. Good choice.
Yes, and another close race here. Even closer, if anything, because Yeah, the Sovereign of the USA edged out a two-way tie between Tyrannos the Utgard Thor and Constance Wayne in second place.
Excellent. Excellent indeed.
All right, gentlemen, I'm next. So we have Best New Ongoing Comic, first issue shipped in 2023. The nominees are Birds of Prey, Conan the Barbarian, The Immortal Four, Transformers, and Wonder Woman. And the winner is... Birds of Prey.
Yes. Excellent. I'm on the ballot. I'm on the ballot.
Yep, that was Ian's nominee, and it was honestly kind of a dark horse for me. It's that Birds of Prey series wasn't even on my radar, but clearly Ian, you knew whereof you spoke because the listeners jumped right on as
Wow.
Yeah, I'll tell you.
I haven't even started that yet.
That series just really, as I said on the episode, it is as close to old school Birds of Prey as I was hoping it would be, with its own personality and flair, and the artwork is stupendous. The writing's great. The teamwork is there. It's almost got like an Ocean's 11 feel at times, depending on what the heist is.
I like that.
So yeah, well worth checking out for any of you who've ever been a fan of Birds of Prey.
Yep. And nipping at the Bird's heels are Transformers and Wonder Woman as first and second runners-up, respectively.
Do-do-do-do.
Okie dokie.
All right, which brings us to the fourth category, which I've got sitting here aside me here in the official Best of Awards database, and that is the category Best Limited Series, the final issue of which shipped in 2023. The nominees there are Danger Street, 8 Billion Genies, The Human Target, Stargirl, The Lost Children, and Ultimate Invasion. And the winner is... The Human Target.
As it should be.
Yes.
Yep.
Indeed.
Bullseye has been hit there.
Mm-hmm.
Now we
And
just need
Tom
an
King
alt.
is bracketing that category this year because his Human Target won, and Danger Street brings up the rear in the voting. It's a great maxi series, which is personally it feels very well tailored to my tastes, but it was up against some stiff competition here.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And we're going to rename that one the award in honor of Chris Everly, and how many times we heard that sound effect when associated with Human Target.
Boy, when we say it like that, I sound like a dirty old man. My God.
It's
I
all
think one
part
of the things
fun.
we do to celebrate the 20th is going to be just patching together a montage of all the different Chris has uttered.
Oh my God, man! I am going to have fun doing that.
No, it's a wonderful idea.
Solid minutes of audible orgasm. That's
I'm looking forward to Danger Street being collected in one volume because I didn't finish reading it in monthly format. So
Yeah.
That's what I feel about Human Target too, even though I did finish that.
Yeah.
Where is our one volume?
I only have 2 at the moment. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a. I mean, again, I go on this rant all the damn time, but like I hate when it's a 12-issue maxi, and I understand they want to keep like the numbers going and people being able to like catch up and whatnot, but then when they don't put out the 12-issue for another year or two afterwards, you're sitting there like waiting, like come on already. Oh well. I almost got pants level there. All right.
I'm not getting any younger here.
Onward we go to Best Single Issue or One Shot. And our nominees for this were Batman Superman World's Finest, number 12. Nightwing, number 105. Outsiders, number 1. Timeless, the 2023 edition of Timeless, the one shot. And Wonder Woman, issue 4. And our winner is one of the best damn series around, Nightwing issue 105.
POV.
Yep.
Deal.
And that was
Redondo being as Redondo-killis as he can be.
Redondo is as Redondo does.
And Redondo is returning to drawing the interior of the book in the near future as well.
Yes.
Terrific.
And I think I may have heard a rumor that this is the conclusion of Tom Taylor's run coming up. So that might be why he's coming back, is to you know, basically put it on a footnote and a high note. But we shall see whether that is indeed the case.
I heard a rumor.
Let me tell you, folks, this category was a real Donnybrook because it was just a lot, like very high levels of votes for both Nightwing number 105 and Batman Superman World's Finest number 12. And Nightwing number 105 won by exactly 1 vote.
Wow.
Yeah, which didn't leave a whole lot of votes for the other 3 nominees. As a matter of fact, I always like it when it works out this way. Almost every single nominee in every category got at least 1 vote from somebody.
Here.
The one exception was Outsiders number 1, which got no votes at all, because even the person who nominated it abandoned it and went for one of the front runners.
Hey, to be fair, it was a really tough competition either way, and I was happy to just even give Outsiders number 1 any sort of love, and I was happy to give it that. So yeah.
Well, Outsiders may get more love in the Best of 2024 awards too.
Very true. Yes. All right.
Let's see. Best cliffhanger / moment. Nominees were Danger Street number 12, Cisco Gets Stabbed, Star Trek number 15, which I will do my best, Brian Deemer, to forget that because I didn't get that far yet. Brother Eternity and Tempest, Face to Face Titans number 3, and Ultimate Kang Revealed, Ultimates Invasion number 4. Or Ultimate Invasion number 4. Winner is Ultimate Kang Revealed.
Yes.
There you go.
Here. All right. I may not have voted for Outsiders number 1, damn it, but I definitely voted for that.
Indeed. Yep. And it also edged out its nearest competition, which is the Brother Eternity and Tempest thing, by 1 vote.
Nice.
So there are some close races this year, folks. So every vote counts.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely the case.
All right. Best storyline within a series or across multiple series. The nominees are Star Trek's Day of Blood, Avengers: The Impossible City, Superman: Space Age, magnificent, and Who is Victor Shade from Avengers Incorporated. And who has prevailed? Superman: Space Age, which deserved to win.
Magnificence has prevailed. That's
Fantastic story.
Yep.
Yep, I'm glad to see it getting some love in here. It did somehow miss the best limited series voting, maybe because it was so late, but it's gotten its recognition here.
Yep.
It won by a very handy margin. No, and I do need to offer an apology at this point to the participating voters, because owing to a typo of mine on the ballot, a storyline from the Han Solo and Chewbacca series that Marvel did last year, which was on the ballot in this category last year, was preserved in the ballot this year. And 2 people actually did vote for it. So I apologize, first of all, to those 2 people for having misled them. And to everybody else for just having cluttered up the ballot and misrepresented the facts.
Murd, even the most majestic of us are still human.
Yeah. Actually, per the voting, the Batman failsafe story arc should have been on the ballot too, but I figured out afterwards that the Batman failsafe, that story actually ended in December of 2022, and so wouldn't have been eligible anyway, so it's just as well I forgot to put it on there.
Quick little side note, I just read recently the first issue of Batman Dark Age, which is the companion to Superman Space Age. Holy crap. Yeah. We'll talk about that more later, but my God.
Definitely.
Yes, Get Pants involved in that, because he was telling us about how he just on a whim, just so he went into the Golden Eagle just so he could talk to Scott, the owner, and they give out little plastic Easter eggs with prize coupons inside, and just so he could get one of those, he bought Batman Dark Age just on a line, and he loved it so much that he's already ordered Superman's, like all the issues of Superman's Space line. So
I'm holding off on Batman until I get the volume, since I already have the 1 volume of Superman. I'm
all right, Shane, I won't spoil anything.
Oh, it's very hard to hold off, though. Maybe I'll read it on the app and then just buy the volume.
Yep.
That takes the timing consideration out of it.
Yes, it does.
All right. And now that brings us to the best sleeper or surprise hit. Most ambiguous of categories. And the nominees there are Boxed, Dead Romans, Peacemaker Tries Hard, and Scarlet Witch. And the winner is Scarlet Witch.
Yes. Excellent.
Yep. Standing head and shoulders above its competition in this case.
Wow.
And once again, extra super happy to see that series will be returning for a second volume in the not too distant future.
Right. First issue of that has been solicited. We should be seeing it in June.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Excellent. All right. Onward we go to Best Ongoing Comic, and one of the few categories that need not have begun publication in 2023. And here we go. Our categories are Batman, Superman, World's Finest, Nightwing, She-Hulk, and Sensational She-Hulk, so both, and Shazam! And our winner is... one of the damn finest comic books on the stands, Batman, Superman, World's Finest.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I saw this one coming from some distance off, just knowing what I know about our listeners' tastes and having gauged the trends of the past editions of these awards. But yeah, it won by quite a large margin, although the runner-up was Nightwing.
Yep.
DC dominated that category, correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She-Hulk was in there.
Oh, She-Hulk, that's right. I'm sorry.
One other public, but so they didn't sweep it, but they did dominate it.
Yes, definitely. It's been a good year for DC.
Yeah. Back to me with number 10. Holy cow. Best graphic album, ongoing, or collection. Nominees are Serial, Sweet Darkness, Do a Power Bomb, trade paperback, Night Fever, and Spider-Man Blue Gallery Edition. The winner is a tie.
Ooh.
Do a Power Bomb and Spider-Man Blue.
Wow.
Oh, fantastic.
Okay.
Yeah, ordinarily I don't like to let these things end in a tie these days. But, so usually I never actually vote in these. I basically cast myself as the vice president in the Senate, where I only vote to break ties. But in this case, I wasn't really familiar with either of the two nominees that were at the top of the voting. I haven't read Do a Power Bomb, and though I have read Spider-Man Blue, I haven't been exposed to the gallery edition. So since I wasn't able to vote knowledgeably, I just allowed this one, Jamie, to go down in the record books as a tie between those two.
That's fair. That's fair. In wrestling terms, it went to a time limit draw.
Perfect.
Okay.
Murd, you're too noble to be vice president, but anyway.
That is a high compliment indeed, Chris. Thank you for telling me that I'm too good to be a politician.
Thank God.
But maybe we need people like Murd, though.
Make mine Murd.
It does seem that the best leaders are the ones who least want to lead.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
I know you're going to hand out mutton chops to all the voters.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Just stick on mutton chops. I can't wait to see the first baby with mutton chops.
Yeah. Show your support. Vote Murd, mutton chops.
It's my turn, is it not?
Yes,
I believe so.
All right. So the next category is Best Writer.
Oh, yes.
And the nominees are Al Ewing. Oh, this is a roll call of glory. Tom King, Jeff Lemire, Tom Taylor, James Tinian IV. Oh, I'm sorry, and Mark Waid. Wow. Yep. And the winner is one of the great grandmasters, Mark Waid.
Ooh. Wow.
Yep. More of that world's finest love.
Yeah.
And
rising to the surface here.
There was not a wrong answer for that category.
No.
Yeah.
No, there really isn't.
I know. I really thought this was going to be a multi-way horse race. But the darndest thing is, it wasn't even close. Mark Waid won by a landslide.
Wow. Okay.
Oh.
All right. Well, it's a heck of a year for him as well, with Shazam and World's Finest and all the other like one shots and whatnot that he worked on over the year. So yeah, very, very good time to be Mark Waid. All right.
Okay, I guess that brings it along to me then, as we move on to the second of the People Awards. And there were People categories. This is Best Artist of 2023. And the nominees there are Chris Burnham, Dan Mora, Nicola Scott, and Greg Smallwood. the winner is Dan Mora.
Yes.
So the world's finest creative team is kind of walking away with things.
World's
this
finest
year.
is cleaning it up. Woo. I mean, it's pretty much a flawless book. So
Yeah. What
Understandable.
I continue to love about Dan Mora is that, and it's been said by Wade, it's been said by plenty of other people, that he's one of the few artists in comics that can easily put out multiple books in a month because he just works like a dynamo. And very few, in a world of late artists, he is the opposite. And I appreciate that to no end.
that's a very old school approach to being a comic book artist.
Yeah.
Man, I wish DC could bottle his work ethic.
Yes, definitely. All right. Was that a landslide as well, sir?
Yes, it was. As a matter of fact, yeah, he won by I think an even greater margin over his nearest competition than Wade did over his. Well, probably because it wasn't divided as many different ways.
Sure. All right. And now we get the best of both worlds as we go on to Best Writer Artist. And our nominees for this category are two people with three names, Daniel Warren Johnson, Sean Gordon Murphy, and then two people with two names, Terry Moore and Zoe Thorogood. And our winner is... a three-name winner, Daniel Warren Johnson. Well,
Truly, he is more than meets the eye.
yes, he is. Oh man, I mean, Dual Power Bombs collection coming out, and the work he did on Transformers. It's well worth praise and accolades, and he is most definitely getting that here. So here's to that.
Yep. And he was the clear winner in this category. And the other thing, interestingly, fished in a three-way tie.
Wow.
Runner-up.
Wow, who would have thunk it?
Okay, next is Best Color Artist. Nominees are Jordi Belair, Tamara Bonvillain. No, that's not right.
It's Tamara Bonvillain.
Thank you. Tamara Bonvillain, Kelly Fitzpatrick, and Jose Villarubia.
Yeah.
And the winner is Jordi Belair.
Okay.
Well known, well loved, and well regarded for her craft in the comics industry. And the thing is, this year's slate of color artist nominees is virtually identical to last year's. All we did was swap out Greg Smallwood, who was nominated and won last year for his work on the Human Target, and we put in my nominee, Kelly Fitzpatrick. But the end result was that Jordi Belair received the greatest number of votes in this category of any nominee in any category.
Wow.
Really?
It shows you how much people love her work.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, good choice.
All right. Next up is Best Letterer. And the nominees are, God, my eyesight's failing me, Shane. Clayton Cowles, Rob, is it Lay or Lee?
I think it's Lee.
Lee, okay. Tom Napolitano, and, I'm going to butcher this. My apologies ahead of time. Hassan, plus I can't see. Hassan Otsmane, Murd, you got to help me.
Hassan Otsmane El Hau is how I would pronounce it, but I may have butchered it just as badly, Chris.
Nowhere near as I would have. All right, and the victor is Clayton Cowles.
All right. You're here.
Yeah. This is another landslide victory. Clayton Cowles received 3 times as many votes as his nearest competition. He was the letterer on a lot of really good comics, many of them written by Tom King, which can't hoit.
Indeed.
It's good company to keep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
The final category.
Yes, indeed. The always eagerly anticipated Breakthrough Talent Award of 2023. And our nominees this year are the aforementioned 3 named Daniel Warren Johnson, Leonardo Romero of Birds of Prey, Tim Sheridan, and Roberto de la Torre. And this year's Breakthrough Talent Award, the last of our Jamies of the evening, goes to Daniel Warren Johnson.
All right. Excellent.
Very good.
Finally, after 5 or 6 years of waiting, he's broken through now. It's official.
That's it. You can't break through again. You cannot break through again. We will remind
One per
you.
customer.
We will remind you next year that he's already broken through and cannot be nominated. But a fantastic job all around. Here's to you, Dan Warren Johnson.
Hats off to you, sir.
And here's to Murd as master of ceremonies and or the organizer.
Indeed.
Yes. Yep.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. I would like to give an additional tip of the cap, though, to Tim Sheridan, who was the runner-up. And he's apparently just in a short time here become a friend of the show because he was the first interviewee of Brian Deemer's new What You Readin' series of creator interviews.
Yes,
It was a good
indeed.
episode.
Yep.
So-
Great episode.
Welcome to CGS land, Mr. Sheridan. Stick around, and you'll probably break through eventually, too.
Yeah, and I met him at New York Comic Con, and he definitely seemed like a nice gentleman. So,
Oh, yes, I'm sure.
all
And
right.
that Alan Scott miniseries is great work.
Yes, it is. Gentlemen, we got a voicemail. And once again, it is not from Drunk Cap. It is an actual voicemail.
Wow.
And I've been waiting to play it, and this seems as good a time as any to do so. So here we are. Let me know whether or not you can hear it. You should be able to without me sharing my screen, but let me know if you need that.
This is Mike from Massachusetts, and I just wanted to leave my praise and admiration for anyone associated with this show. I'm a 42-year-old husband, 17 years married with a 12-year-old daughter, and your show has given me so much joy since I started to listen around episode 1500. Born in 81, my love for comics started in 5th grade when a fellow geek named John gave me his Batman vs. Predator #1, and I was mesmerized by the art of the Kubrick brothers and the story on those pages. Life is a lot different these days, being a responsible adult, paying the bills, and having lost contact with many of my friends throughout it all. I often crave for simpler days growing up in the 80s and 90s, being a young geek. However, these voids are easily fixed by listening to you all. In all honesty, there are times I am jealous listening to the camaraderie and friendship you all display in each episode, often wanting that back in my own life. However, with that said, I beam with excitement anytime I see a new episode in my podcast feed. Please, please, please don't ever stop this show, as I am sure I am not the only one that loves these new episodes when they pop up. I wanted to leave this message to give my utmost praise and appreciation for all the hours of greatness you guys have given to me. In particular, just to label a few appreciations, as I can't list them all: the encyclopedia knowledge of Murd and Peter, the enthusiastic tone of Chris, the ring leadership mastery of Ian, the chuckles of Pants, the newest additions to Shane's toy collection, although I often hear him saying he's trying to cut back, or even the tone of Brian sounding miserable anytime he talks, but just joking. I love the CGC episodes, the Crisis tapes, the Spotlight episodes. They all are just beautifully mastered. I am an ultra runner, so when I'm training for longer events and running in the trails, I often love the Crisis tapes, so keep those coming, guys, and make them last another 10 more years. In closing words,
Oh, they will.
I state how much appreciation you all give to me. P.S. More Uncle Sal. P.S.S. Chris waiting on bated breath for that World War II podcast. To me, the years 1936 to 1946 are the most prolific times of modern era. Thank you all so much.
Wow.
Well, thank you very much.
Message.
To bring a
Very
tear to
sweet
the eye.
message.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Thank you for taking the time to record that. That's
Yeah.
Yeah, Mike.
That's put steam in our strides, to be sure.
Thank you very, very much for that one, Mike. And yeah, we really do greatly appreciate it. Happy to put some listening into your marathons and whatnot. And
Yeah.
it's always a joy.
And Mike, the World War II podcast is coming. Not probably soon, but I'm working on it. It is coming so eventually, because it's like writing a book. But what's coming a lot sooner is a spotlight.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. We do have that in the pipeline.
And half of us are parents, the other half aren't. So we can appreciate the aged over 42 and parent family responsibilities and growing up with all that jazz.
You captured that perfectly.
It's no fun growing up.
Yes.
Sometimes.
Yep. But
I'd rather be in the 80s myself.
sometimes it's good to be a kid no matter what, though, and be doing these episodes and continuing to listen to be in the comic books and have a little bit of a deviation every now and then just keeps us all young in the long term.
I've always listened to 80s music, but I've really been hitting hard Classic Rewind, 80s on 8, Hair Nation, and First Wave on Sirius XM. Just constant 80s music the last few weeks. And I keep growing my hair out. You can't see it real well here, but I got a late 70s, early 80s feather part
You
going.
do, my friend. You should be a part of the crew of Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah, it's getting pretty long back here.
Yeah, no, it's.
Man.
I'm rocking that too, Shane. We should get together for a game of Pyramid sometime.
Yeah. Or a Hardy Boys episode.
With Paul Williams singing a song while they're there.
Oh, man. I would be deeply honored by that.
Yep, indeed.
Now the only question, is it Shane or is it a Cylon?
Now, well, in the 78 show, the Cylons couldn't disguise themselves as
That's
humans.
right. That's right.
So
They were all
it's Shane.
toasters.
It's Shane.
All right.
So it's Shane. He's a colonial warrior. He drives a Viper.
All right, got it. Also a note, we are recording this on Superman Day.
Oh.
I was going to point that out. How appropriate that it's episode number 1938.
Yes.
And we're laying it down on April
Yeah.
18th, the release date of Action
Wow.
Comics number 1 in that year.
We planned that.
Outstanding. Man.
We planned it.
Man, the kismet that we somehow run into with this show time and again is just perfect. Absolutely perfect.
Yep. It's all part of the plan.
Yes. Before we wrap up, a couple of things of note. One, there was a trailer that came out today that I'd love to get at least Shane's take on, and possibly some of you other gentlemen. The new Transformers animated movie trailer came out today.
Indeed.
Yeah, Transformers 1. And not exactly what I was expecting, but I'd like to get your take.
Had no idea this was a thing until you posted it, and I saw it at lunch, so I watched it. I will say I am extremely impressed with the animation.
Yes.
It looks beautiful. So my little itty bitty teeny weeny pet peeve is, why can't you do this with Gen 1 features for Transformers and make it look that good? Why is it so hard?
Yeah.
That being said, I'm really curious to watch this. I knew that Optimus Prime and Megatron were
Wow.
kindred spirits back in the day, but I never knew much about it. I'm sure there's probably been some stories out there of Orion Pax and Megatron before he was Megatron. But this one seems to be a lot more expansive of that friendship that they had. I had no idea. Maybe this is a thing. Maybe this is new just for this trailer, that not all of the Transformers can transform.
Yeah.
So that's kind of unique. I'm curious to see how that is explained.
That it seems to be something you earn, not something that you're born with.
Yeah. But I'm very interested in it. It looks really good. If I'm right, the way this looks, you have Orion Pax, and it's a picture that Ian has up. Orion Pax on the right, Megatron on the left. To me, the next one looks like Bumblebee and then RC.
Yes.
I think you're 4 for 4 there, Shane.
So, I mean, not like it was hard, but they didn't mention any of that. They just talk about Orion Pax and what was Megatron called? T16 or TR16 or something like that?
Did D something, I think.
D, maybe D.
It was definitely an alphanumeric of some kind.
But very, very curious, very interested to watch it. It looks fantastic.
And the voice cast is incredibly impressive too.
Very impressive.
Chris Hemsworth playing the soon-to-be Optimus Prime, Brian Tyree Henry playing the soon-to-be Megatron, Scarlett Johansson in there as Alita 1. Lawrence Fishburne is going to be a part of this cast. John Hamm, Keegan-Michael Key as Bumblebee. So yeah, there's a big cast to this, and all of which are A-listers essentially.
Quick question, because I'm not as well versed in the Transformers history. So originally, Optimus Prime and Megatron were comrades. Is that?
Yeah.
And this is
Go ahead,
I'm sorry.
various circles in stories from what I've heard over the years. I don't know that back in the 80s and through, probably the 90s, I would say. I'm not super versed in it either, past the initial Marvel comic series. But I'm sure this was not something, I'm pretty sure this was not something that was originally talked about in the original series.
Yeah.
This is a later kind of retcon thing.
Oh, but I love stories where they explore, like, you have allies and there's a schism. I always enjoy.
Sure. And I could be wrong. This could have been mentioned in issue 5 of the original Transformers, and I forgot.
Yeah.
Absolutely could be a thing. But yeah, I'm curious to watch them explore this. And it looks fantastic.
And similar to Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, even though that is technically part of the, Spider universe or what have you, this is going to be its own thing in its own side universe, completely unassociated with any of the live action movies or any of the existing shows. This is its own, basically starting here, first step into a new Transformers universe, one way or the other.
And I'm okay with that premise as long as they do something with it, and you don't know that they're going to do more with it unless this does well.
Yes.
So if it doesn't do well, it'll almost seem like a waste in some ways. Not because it wouldn't be bad, but if it doesn't do well and nothing else is done with it, well, I think that not a waste. That's the wrong term. A missed opportunity, I think, is a better term.
Yeah.
But hey, if it does well and they jettison off to this new Transformers universe and do features like this continuously, great.
Yeah,
I'm all for it.
This is by the way, the writer and director of Toy Story 4, Josh Cooley, who has been involved with many other things over the years. The Incredibles was one of his first big credits where he was just an artist, but he worked on a screenplay for Inside Out over at Disney and the story, and he's also working on a couple of other movies, including the Tower of Terror movie coming out of Disney. He's listed as the writer for that, not the director. So it's a man with pedigree. It's just I agree with you, Shane. I'm really into the animation. I'm just not 100% certain if this is the story that I'm looking for yet, and seeing it will have to point me in one direction or the other.
Yeah, I agree. We're not going to know that until we watch it. But I'm all for giving it a chance.
Oh, absolutely.
It just looks too good not to.
Yep. Yeah. No question about it. Yep.
And like you said, stellar voice cast.
My God, yeah. And I mean, that's not even all of them. Like Steve Buscemi is in this freaking movie.
Yeah,
one of the best.
Any other quick things that we'd like to bring up on this episode, gentlemen? I know.
I do want to get
later.
I want to get your quick takes if anybody's watched it. I did catch up over the weekend and last night to the X-Men 97 cartoon on Disney.
Yes.
Haven't watched a moment of it yet.
I've only seen the first episode.
Okay, then I'll keep it spoiler free.
Yeah.
I will say I think it's good. I'm enjoying it. But I do think that through episodes 1, 2, 3, and maybe even 4, definitely 1, 2, and 3, I feel like they're cramming too much in it. They're rushing the stories, not giving it time to breathe. It's still fine. It's good, but I feel like they're rushing through things.
So I would agree with you on that, if not for the fact that the original X-Men, the animated series, exists. And so many stories happened in the span of 1 to 2 episodes in that original.
Yeah, I understand. I get that. And I kind of remember that. I'd have to really go back and watch all of them.
Yeah.
The first couple episodes, not bad, just rubbed me the wrong way. Like, can we explore this just a little bit?
What I found striking was that I was very excited back in the 90s when it first premiered. And I remember I watched several of the first season, but I was in college, so I was maybe a bit snootier at that point, and it was a little too kidified for me, so I didn't stay with it. And I was really impressed with this because it felt much more like reading an X-Men comic.
It is more adult this time.
And it was far more adult, and I really enjoyed, the way they captured all the characters. I would say this, Shane, again, I've only watched the first episode, but I think we're accustomed the comics to the X-Men really breathing because they take some of these storylines run for so many issues.
Oh, yeah.
And that's just not, I'm sure that's not going to happen even in a more adult animated series like this. But I enjoyed the first episode.
As I've caught all the way up, there are certain storylines that are definitely giving more time to breathe. Storm's storyline in particular, anybody who's a fan of Claremont's era will be very, very happy with what they decide to do in this series with Storm. Also, the Magneto arc throughout has been done terrific. The most recent, the episode before the one that just came out, episode 5, is easily my favorite of the entire run.
Yes, I agree.
And
I agree.
And I will not spoil it for those who have not seen it. I will say that they chose to do a comic book not from the 90s. Comic book storyline not from the 90s.
That's exciting.
And also not from the 80s and not from the 70s.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to leave it there.
Wow.
Yeah, so like nothing, it's a more modern story that they decided to adapt into this run, and it works beautifully. And I'm really, really curious how they're going to just wrap it all up with the 3-part finale that's essentially going to be taking place in the next 3 episodes of the show.
The only other thing I wanted to bring up is the animation, I think, is 85% great. And I say that because there are just times when, especially when they're close up on specific characters, that I think it looks too much like one of those animated Doctor Who episodes that they're adapting for the Lost Things, where the animation looks a little bit awkward. It's fantastic in so many ways, but then there's just this little like scene here, a little scene there that just look weird to me. Maybe it's me, maybe I'm just, I don't know, too tired, but something just looks off with some of the when they're close up on faces, they kind of just glide across the screen, but don't really have any fluid movement to them like a cartoon should, in my opinion. Just minor nitpick, just weird to me.
Yeah.
I know they're trying to make it look like it was drawn back then, but using more modern computer animation. So there's got to be some give and take.
Right.
There's just something like, oh, that looks like one of those weird Doctor Who episodes. But I'm still watching it. Not going to stop. Not going to not.
I just wanted to give a quick field report from when I was stopped by my local comic shop today, because when you guys were praising Immortal Thor, and I've always loved Thor, and I haven't read that series, and I just read the first issue, and I was in the shop, and they have a shelf where they highlight trades that they like, and the first volume of that trade, I was like, oh, great. Then I saw the price.
Oh, no.
It's just the times we live in now with some of these books. So I think there's 5 issues and an annual in it. Wait for it. $29.99.
What?
And I put it
For
right
6
down.
issues.
Put it right down.
That is one of Marvel's titles. It is $4.99 for a 32-page comic. I'm not sure why, but
I still don't really like reading books online unless I'm doing it for the show. But I was like, I'm not buying this. Like, come on, it's $30 for a trade.
I always did find Marvel trades always seem to be a little bit more pricey than DC's or other companies.
Yeah. I get it. They know the people buying are people like me who are ideally middle-aged and have some disposable income.
Yeah.
But I'm not spending my disposable income on a $30 trade paperback. Sorry.
Even
5 issues,
even Amazon has it, like just even looking here, that they have it for 14% off at $25.72. I'm sure In Stock Trades probably has a little bit of a better price if you decide to make a trade run at some point. But I do fully agree that is beyond outrageous for 5 issues of a book. That's, come on, let's be real.
I realize that the readership of paper is shrinking, but if you want people like me to get into the series, I'm not going to get into it now because I just can't. I can't justify that. Yeah. I mean, it's come on.
Agree completely. Yep. All right, we're not done.
Nope. So if we haven't had enough of me talking tonight.
Oh, Murd, come on.
Talk amongst yourselves for a minute. I need to go get a prize.
No, please, by all means. It's the Murd Show, featuring Murd, with special guest star Murd. And it's time, once again, for Muddle the Murd here. It's been much too long since the last time that we've had a Muddle the Murd. And I felt like in a short episode like this is an excellent time to attempt it. And Murd's got the pipes ready to go, so he's ready, willing, and able. Let's have Murd explain how Muddling the Murd works. We have 3 Muddle the Murds in the queue after this.
Terrific!
So get those Muddle the Murd attempts in.
Wow.
Has more.
Just 3.
Okay. Here's what you got to do to try for one of those fabulous Muddle the Murd prizes. What we're working with here is a comics trivia contest. So you, as the potential muddler, need to come up with 3 comics trivia questions, a Marvel question, a DC question, and a question about comics from some other publisher. And they also need to break down chronologically to one question about comics published before 1970, one question about comics published between 1970 and 2000, inclusive, so the years 1970 and 2000 are included in that range, and a third question about comics published after the year 2000. Don't forget to include the answers to these questions. Don't go into too much micro background detail in your questions. Only ask questions that have some importance to plot, character, what have you. Don't just ask about like random background details in a panel somewhere. Don't ask about non-textual things like ads or letter columns and that sort of thing.
Not even hostess ads, folks.
Not even those. Thank you. As much as I enjoy those personally, they're out of bounds. Sorry. Yep. So just come up with those questions that meet the criteria, put them into an email with Muddle the Murd in the subject line, and send it to comicgeekspeak@gmail.com. Those questions will be asked of me eventually by Quizmaster Ian, and if I answer all three of them wrong, you will have muddled the Murd, and I'll be mailing you at my own very dear personal expense a fabulous prize.
Yep.
And I have here one that was provided by our friends at the Eberly Foundation. It's picked up by Chris at a local comic show. Whoop, I'm nearly on the ground. Infinity Inc., The Generation Saga. This lovely hardcover collecting the first 4 issues of the first Infinity Inc. ongoing from the 80s, and also the arc and All-Star Squadron that introduced the Infinity Inc. characters as the sons, daughters, and protégés of the first generation of DC superheroes, the Justice Society of America.
Excellent.
The second generation of Earth 2 heroes, Infinity Inc. Great stuff.
Yeah. Chris tested.
I thought that when I saw it, it was ideally suited for Murd.
Yep. And you were absolutely right, Chris. I thank you. It'll be my pleasure to give this prize away to any worthy muddler who comes along.
As I just said, Chris tested, Murd approved. Most definitely. All right, and this comes from Jerry Harrington. This is his 3rd attempt at muddling the Murd. Dear Geeks, please allow me this opportunity to muddle the Murd for a 3rd successful time. And I want to personally thank Adam for mailing me the 2 prizes, especially the book on comics and the movies, which I thoroughly enjoyed. As you may recall, the last time I successfully muddled said Murd, I recalled episodes in comic history that caused me pain and agony. This time, I recall brighter notes in honor of the magnificent and the sublime. I will ask...
Well, that is good, Jerry. We do like to keep things positive here on CGS.
Yes, we do. I will ask questions surrounding the career of one of the greatest comic artists in the history of the medium, the Honorable Gene Colan. Yep.
Horrific.
Am I allowed to use Chris as a lifeline here? Feel free to say no.
Yeah, no. I hope all you geeks will agree with this judgment. I was introduced into the works of Mr. Colan in the mid-1960s within the pages of Marvel's Tales to Astonish as the artist for a revived Submariner series.
That's right.
Yep. Gene Colan's name, however, did not appear in the credits. Instead, he drew under the nom de plume Adam Austin.
Still working for DC at that time.
You got it.
Oh, wow.
Yep. Not wanting his current employer, DC, to know he was moonlighting for Marvel. Soon the mask was lifted as Colan, under his own name, continued his mastery in Marvel titles Daredevil and Iron Man. I particularly remember his renditions of Daredevil flying amidst the skyscrapers of Manhattan and within his personal gym, with multiple displays in single panel of the Man Without Fear exhibiting motion reminiscent of Carmine Infantino's Silver Age Flash. In the 1980s, Colan's use of shadow and darkness was the perfect match for DC's Batman. He continued his work into the 21st century. I was honored to be in the same room with Gene Colan at one of the Golden Age panels organized by Mark Evanier at the San Diego Comic-Con, which also featured the great Murphy Anderson and Ramona Fradon. Wow. Silver Age Aquaman artist. I was disappointed to hear Colan lament the loneliness he suffered as a comic book artist, but let us speak of more elevated things and honor this man, his longevity, and great work with 3 muddle questions in his name.
And just a little sidebar before you start. I think one of the best episodes we did was when we talked to Gene Colan.
Yes.
That was phenomenal.
I would agree with that entirely. I've listened to that episode multiple times over the years.
And thrilled to have gotten to meet him then at first New York Comic Con not long after that.
And you know what, Shane, I met him there too, and he mailed to me after I ordered a Howard the Duck sketch, which I still prize.
Nice.
So.
Nice.
The man seemed genuinely happy to be talking to us and grateful for the recognition.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. Alrighty. So we will begin in DC pre-1970. After starting his career at Fiction House and Timely Comics, later Marvel in the 1940s, Cohen moved to National Publications, later DC, where he did work across multiple comic genres. From the early 1950s to the mid-1960s, one specialty of Cohen's was in war comics, where he provided richly detailed battle visuals. They included All-American Men of War, GI Combat, Our Army at War, Our Fighting Forces, and Star-Spangled War Stories. A sixth war title of this period, upon which Cohen labored, featured a single character in its title. What was its name?
A single character. And this is a war comic. Ugh. Something tells me I'm going to be kicking myself in a minute. And we're talking about pre-1970.
You got it.
The first thing that came to my mind is probably a little bit too late to fit into that category. Oh, what the heck. It's a little offbeat as war comics go. It might not be what he's thinking of in terms of war, but I'm going to say Tomahawk.
Chris, any guesses?
Just to review, so this is one of a DC War title you have not mentioned.
Yes.
And the title is a name?
Yes, the title is a name of a singular character.
Okay, I'm going to take this is probably wrong, though. Johnny Cloud?
The correct answer, Captain Storm.
Oh, you were close, Chris. It was a loser, but it wasn't John. I don't think Johnny Cloud ever had his own series.
Okay.
I
was definitely thinking losers, but would not have been able to figure out just one character's name, but I was thinking the losers.
Yep. Jerry, I have to say, the amount of detail and depth that you bring into these submissions makes me a very happy man. I love them every single time. Onward we go to Independent 1970 to 2000. Gene Cohen teamed up again with Marv Wolfman to tell the further tales of the undead in a 3-issue miniseries titled The Curse of Dracula. Cover date July through September 1998. What comic company produced this work?
All right, well, I was 1998. I was in college. I was only reading. I was going to the Comic Swap weekly. It's not the sort of thing that necessarily would have been on my radar. All right, so let's see. Who was publishing comics in the late 90s? Who would have had a focus on horror? And who would have been focused on past creators enough to see the market value of something like...
this deductive process is thrilling, by the way.
Yeah,
a reunion between Cohen and Wolfman.
I remember this title vividly.
All right, so you've probably got the answer
Yes.
on the tip of your tongue. Yes, he just...
It was beautiful.
Late 90s publishers.
It's like he's Professor X right now.
All right, you know what? I'm just...
My X-Men.
The vampire connection's just drawing me in this direction. I'm going to say Harris Comics.
Chris,
I believe it was Dark Horse.
you are correct, sir.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Yep.
That wasn't even a good second guess.
That was a good guess, though.
I was thinking more independent. Wow.
Yeah. Yep, Dark Horse Comics. And here we are with Marvel post 2000. Not the direction I thought he was going to go with Gene Cohen. And
Interesting.
yeah, in 2010, Gene Cohen won an Eisner for penciling a Marvel title as a part of a team for Best Single Issue. What was this title? I knew the answer to this the minute that I read it, even before I read the answer, but that's just me.
We're talking an ongoing here.
We are indeed.
Daredevil.
Chris.
So it was an ongoing Marvel title in 2010.
Yes, 2010. You're going to kick yourself.
Oh.
You're already kicking yourself. I can see you kicking
Yeah,
yourself.
I'm gonna say Doctor Strange.
The correct answer. It was issue number 601 and written
Of Captain America.
and written by Ed
Yes.
Brubaker, cover date
Yes,
September
Captain America. I remember now.
2009.
It's Captain
Yep.
America.
Captain America.
I have no recollection of that.
I don't
I remember
that.
now. Because Colin did draw Cap for a while in the Silver Age.
Yep. Yeah.
So, yep.
I remember reading this issue as it came out. It was one of the most beautiful issues that Brubaker worked on at the time in Captain America, and Colin drew the hell out of it. In fact, I'll bring up an image for it here just for both of us to see. But yeah, this was something else. Issue 601 of Captain America. Look at the blacks on that. Like,
Well, the thing about Colin's work is that even near the end of his life, if you saw just his pencils like you see here, it is really has no peer as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, yeah.
For me, he's like my all-time favorite comic book artists.
yeah, and
Tomb of Dracula alone.
and I believe this is a hat trick now for Mr. Harrington. So
Wow.
Yep.
Sure enough. So prize number 3 going to be making its way to you, Jerry.
Yes. Excellent.
So thank you for playing our game. And now step aside and let some other people have a turn.
Yes. And for that matter, all you people listening, we have new listeners out there. I know we do. Whether it be on the YouTube or whether it be, through, Spotify or Amazon or what have you, put your submissions into the hat, and it's time to hear some new voices, and let's get this party a-rolling here and keep a-rolling one way or the other, because I love doing these Muddle the Murds.
I just stopped by the Lehigh Valley Comic-Con with Pants this past weekend and hit up the trade bins and found some new prizes. So
Nice.
Terrific.
Very nice.
come and get them.
Excellent.
Nice.
All right, gentlemen, and that, I believe, is a bolt shot. Nice way to end the
Indeed.
episode.
That is.
Yep. An all Murd episode here, and couldn't have had it
All new, all different, all Murd.
exactly.
All day, all night. You know what you need. Only right here on Murd TV.
You see, if we named our episodes the way the founders have been doing lately, it would definitely be all new, all different, all Murd.
One of those assertions is incongruous with the other two.
Yes. Well, once again, a thank you out there to everybody who has been contributing to us over at patreon.com/Comic Geek Speak. We really do thank you for the continued support of the show. And once again, a reminder, tiny.cc/CGS20TH. tiny.cc/CGS20th if you want to participate in our 20th anniversary celebration taking place on March 29th of next year, 2025. We have over 90 people that have replied
terrific.
that they are attending at this point, and it is going to be a reunion of great proportions, and I cannot wait for it. So check that out if you have not already done so. And Shane, guess what? It's your turn.
My
And
turn.
I hand it over to you.
This is my time. My time.
My time.
Oh, he's unraveling. I love it.
Time for Shane to shine.
Visit us at comicgeekspeak.com. To send us an email, the address is comicgeekspeak@gmail.com. To leave a voicemail, thank you very much, Mike, for your voicemail. The number is 267-702-6642. Look us up on YouTube at youtube.com/comicgeekspeak. Comment on YouTube, hit the like, subscribe, bell notifications, all that jazz. Follow us on Twitter. Look us up on Facebook. And send in your Muddle the Murds. As Ian said, we only have 3 left and we want some more. So send them in as much as possible. Thank you to everyone who contributes to the show. Thank you for everyone who supports us through Patreon. And as always, we are uniting the world's mightiest heroes, one listener at a time.
Thank you to my mother. Thank you to my father. Thank you to George Perez. Oh, I'm out of time.